You see that? I drink water. Yeah. Every now and then. Just kidding. I never drink any water. That was like a cool thing I was doing to show that, I'm like so healthy and all. Anyways, if you guys are here, you might just be joining just because, or you might have seen that we are having someone special to come talk tonight. Hi, honey. All right. Okay, people are here. Wow, 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 wow. Here she is. There's someone called Full of Behavior. Let's see who she is. No, I'm just kidding. It's Kara. You'll meet her in a second. We love ourselves a hydrated queen. I literally drink no water. So does my friend Hani, who's actually watching this. View request. So you guys are about to meet Kara, and you're going to learn all about Kara in 3 seconds. You guys might know her. Hi, Kara.
Hello.
I was just giving you a little intro.
Oh, okay. I've never been on, well, I think I've been on live once. So.
Oh, so okay. So anyways, but we got new people maybe. And so Kara when were you in the collective?
So I was like, I call it the OG collective. I think there was one before me, but it was 2019. Is that when you start, or did you start 2018?
Like, I think like officially 2019, but 2018 was like when I was still like, hey, send me a Venmo for $5 and I'll send you the link to get in. And then we like, did you have to log off at 45 minutes and get back on?
No.
Or pay for a Zoom account by then?
I think you paid for a Zoom account by then.
Okay, yeah. So no, the OG was like everyone had to like the OG, you had to get off at 45 minutes and then be like, okay, come back on. And
no.
Yeah, no, we've come a long way. We now could do our classes for a full 2 hours without any interruption.
Kicked off.
Wait, but notes were not on the iPad yet.
No, you used the whiteboard that was super glary for the first like 2 classes, and then people kept saying,
you sent us a picture of that the other day.
Yeah, it was like this big white, but you kept moving. I remember the first session we kept saying it's glary, so you'd like move stations until it wasn't glary.
With my laptop, totally. Okay, guys, this is started from the bottom, now we here.
I know.
All right, so Kara, a little about Kara that I'm going to tell you. First of all, so she took it all the way, and oh my God, that looks so useful, this thing I see right here. Sorry, this looks... I don't have to hold this. Like, I don't know where this came from. Like, this was to hold you from, but let's see how cool it is. 1 cent. 1 cent. Sorry, guys, trying to fit the phone in here. I'm not taking a shit or anything. Don't worry. Okay. Cool. Okay. All right. So Kara took the collective, and I'm going to ask you about your experience. And the reason that I actually brought Kara on initially, Kara took the collective in 2019. You've always stayed in touch somehow. You popped out 2 kids in the interim since 2019, right?
Yes.
Kara also has an autoimmune issue.
I think that's when we connected first, or that was definitely like when I heard you had one, I was like, okay, I can do it.
Right. Okay. So yeah, and then we'd like post like competitive pictures, like who's more in the hospital.
Yeah.
Just kidding. That wasn't a competition. But so Kara took the collective back when, and we've touched base a few times about like different things. And if you're wondering, when you listen to Behavior Bitches podcast, anytime you guys hear the famous Study Notes ABA song, like Study Notes, I'll have her sing it.
Yeah. I like Study Notes ABA. Oh, a little
ABA in a little X-rated way. That's Kara.
Well, that's why I ended the collective, and then in my eyes, I was like, this is probably creepy because I just made it one night. I was like inspired to make you, and you didn't really know who I was. I was in your collective, but I don't think we ever talked too much. And then I just sent an email like, hey, I made you a jingle. And I remember you responded right away.
And that jingle has been in every podcast since. And so, and now in 2022, Kara reached out and we just reconnected, and you were speaking to me about your experience in the collective. And I was like, to hear this from a real what you're saying is like it just meant so much as to what we're doing at Study Notes. So obviously I'm not bringing someone on here who hated the collective, which I don't know who that is. But with what you said, I think it's like when I look at a product, something like I want to know someone else's experience. So I figured let's bring Kara here, and if you want to ask her any questions, you can ask her any questions. But I want to start off with was Study Notes the first thing that you used?
So yes. So like I graduated. I don't know if it's any different now, but like I felt like when I graduated, so I did my clinical hours too. So like all while I was in school. So basically I graduated and I had 2 months of clinical hours, and then that's when the test was scheduled. So I was really looking at that August date because I didn't want to wait till November. And I know now you can take it anytime, but they don't tell you anything about the test. I don't know if they do now, but when I graduated, I was like, okay, so now I study for this test, cool. And then I remember like sitting down, probably like everyone does, and like you Google how to study for the BCBA exam because I didn't know and they didn't tell me. And I knew I had to do with the task list, so I Googled, and like study notes kept coming up. So I remember I bookmarked you all, and then there's all those other ones out there. So I just kept like Googling, going back and forth, kept coming
I'm
up with
surprised
like,
we had like any internet coverage at that point, but cool.
you had like a website. It's way different now because I remember when you redid your website, I was like, oh, they have like a real website. But you did have some sort of website.
Oh, that was like a Wix I made, and it had like this like mermaid girl in the middle. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I remember the mermaid, but it was
like picture and a logo.
um so I kept Googling, but then I got really stubborn because I didn't know too, like when you study for the exam, no one told me like, hey, put money aside, or like, you're gonna need materials. I have always been pretty good at school and taking tests. So then I got really stubborn. I was like, screw this, like, why do I have to pay to study? Like I can study. So I thought like, oh, I'll prove them wrong in a sense. I was like, I'm not gonna buy any materials. I have my books, I have the task list. So, and at this point I should note, like I was extremely broke. I was in that like vicious cycle of you pay your minimum on your credit card and then you use it again. Like I was bare minimum, just getting by. So I think that was also overwhelming. So I remember like I was like, screw this, I'm not going to pay to study because I know how to study. And then I went to a coffee shop, brought the books I thought I knew to bring and the task list, and then I sat down, and I've never had a panic attack, but I remember that was one time. There was one other time because I just started to feel so overwhelmed. I took out the task list and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start, like what book to use. And I tried to like focus and like, okay, where can I start, or what do I know on the task list? And it was so overwhelming.
I
And I
remember
didn't,
that feeling too. That
yeah,
feeling is like, wait, what?
yeah, like I felt so lost. And two, when I, like back in the day, especially when I felt like that, I was like, then all the self-doubt came in. I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't take it in August. I've been in and out of the hospital. Maybe this isn't right for me. I don't know if I can do this. So then like all this negative self-talk kept coming in. And I remember I was like coaching myself in this coffee shop to just like chill out or stay calm. But I ended up leaving like shortly after. And then that's when like I listened to a podcast, like a self-help podcast on the way home. And because I usually
Behavior
like
Fit was not around. That was not behavior.
no, there's
Okay.
only like the collective. There was no like app. There was nothing
Yeah,
for it. This
yeah,
is
no.
like, there was no resources like Study Notes has, but in addition. So I remember the guy on there. I have no idea who it is, but hopefully he gets some good vibes his way because he like saved me. But he said like invest in yourself, community. I wasn't connecting it yet to studying, but it like calmed me down and just said like you need to find a community, invest in yourself if for your goals. So then that night I told myself I'm going to Google one more time like how to study for the BCBA exam because I felt like I was exhausting going in circles. I already Googled probably for hours. And then I did,
Yeah.
and study notes came up again. So I was like, okay, fine. So like I opened up the study notes thing. I was like, what is this collective? And again, it was just like the craziest thing because on the last credit card I had was like almost the exact amount. There was like a couple coffees, I could get like after it. But I remember I was like, okay, if I do this, I have to show up. Like little did I know, and I'll tell this later, like how easy it was to show up. But I was like, Kara, if you do this, like you have to show up. Because I used to have like a pattern to like procrastinate, like, oh, I would like try things and then like fizzle out. And so I was like, um, but yeah, study notes kept coming up. So I was like, fine. So I bought it. And then I didn't necessarily feel relief yet because I think because I had like no money
No,
left.
like investing in anything is like,
Yeah.
did
I
I
don't know.
just,
It's like a risk. And two, when you're like
of course.
a poor college student, you're just like, I don't know. I just want to be a BCBA. And then, um, but yeah. But then I showed up to my first class, and this is what's crazy about the collective. So even back then, when you had a glary whiteboard, like it
Like,
just
I
put
don't
like
think you get like glare. I'm talking about you get like every third letter.
yeah,
No
like we
colors
could
get that. Like I had like a regular expo pack of like red, black,
yeah
green, and blue.
no like there was like some parts where you literally could not see the board, and we're like, can you like show that part? So but that's what like the collective. It's so hard to explain because we had like a glary whiteboard. You got better, like definitely after the first couple we figured or you figured something out. Um,
Anyway,
and but like it didn't matter. I remember that first class, like the other thing that the collective does is because that task list seems so like overwhelming, like by me joining, like you took care of that. Like if I needed something off my plate when it came to studying, and that was like a huge thing because like you walk through it, you know, the collective takes you all through it. You're gonna cover everything. So I didn't have to think about that part. And I think that was a big like release for me is like, okay, I have to just show up. That's the promise to myself is I just need to get there. And thankfully, like Leah, and now, you know, there's Casey and Danielle, like they support you all the way through it. So that was just like, I felt like it took a huge weight off my shoulders because I didn't even know where to start. And then, yeah, I mean, and then it's just fun. Like, again, even with your glare whiteboard, it was like the best session ever. And it wasn't hard to show
first
up.
of all,
Like,
thank you so much. Like when I talked to like you or Casey, who like signed up for the classes when it was like I don't know. I'm like I like feel so thankful that you guys even like considered taking it. I mean, there's times that like I literally remember being in Israel and I taught on like a piece of tissue paper, like holding it up in the middle of the night there because it
uh,
was like the wrong time.
yeah, I think
But
like I feel like one part you were in Israel for mine or something, or you were away. I don't know.
no, 2019, I got married in Israel. Yeah, I
Okay.
was away. Like I literally think the day before I was like teaching in the middle of the night.
Okay. Yeah, you were because you're like on like a balcony or something like
Yes, on
outside.
the video.
Yeah.
I remember that very clearly.
Oh,
Like on my farm.
yeah, I remember that. Um, but yeah, like I don't know. It just literally like I know it saved me. And then too, like the whole, you know, at the start I was like, oh my gosh, I spent all this money, like I'm investing this much in studying, like I better, you know. But that like all went away because like I didn't even think about it because I was just having honestly just so much fun. And it was just like kept me in routine. I was showing up. And again, it's just like this feeling and like the confidence too. Like you leave the collective each session, like, oh, I can do this. Like I'm ready. Where when I was studying on my own or attempted for like 10 minutes, I was like, I'm gonna fail life.
Well, that's like the idea that, you know, put it together. Like, I mean, I don't think anyone outside the field understands. It's like, oh, what do you mean? You're not taking the bar. You're not taking the like
Mm-hmm.
the you know the boards to be a doctor. You know, and people are like, what are you freaking out about? Like it
Mm-hmm.
really is something where you are giving up your life for that amount of time. Like, and
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it like that, but so the fact that you do have to give up your life, that you want to, you know, like have it in a way that you can enjoy it and have community because everyone, like shared adversity, everyone's
Mm-hmm.
dealing
No,
with this.
that was like, yeah, those the other parts because I took, and I think a lot of programs now are online. So I didn't go to like classes. So I didn't have anyone from class or anyone I could study with. Um, And so that was like my one place where I was like, oh, these people understand what I'm going through. Cause like, I didn't know anyone personally who was like a BCBA or I mean, my supervisor was, but like, yeah, was going through the test. So it was a place I could show up and I'm like, oh, these people get it. I don't know.
So no, I'm so happy to hear you say this because you know what I realized lately? I was talking to Casey and I was like, we always say like, yeah, sign up for the collective.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, that just shows like how like it's just become like so normal as like, but I'm like, do people even know what the fucking collective is? I mean, when I made up that name, I was like, it just sounds cool. I don't know. Like I literally was like all these different words, but if you could explain to someone, sorry, I should have like prepared you for these questions. We didn't prepare you these questions, but I think you'll be fine. If you could explain to anyone like what to expect from the collective, like from like when you walk in, like also like what are we actually doing in there, and like what to expect, or if you were going to tell someone who's like, what am I going into here? What am I signing up for? Because I do think a lot of people also are scared of, I'm worried I'm fucked. Like, I don't know if I learned anything in my grad school program. I've had no support from my supervisor. So just like in terms of that, what can someone expect from like walking into the Zoom room to leaving?
Yeah, well, I was like kind of sadly like the norm where I feel like I got through school and then, yeah, my clinical experience wasn't great, leading up to it. So I was like, I don't even know if I know anything. So I felt like I was starting at zero. Oh, and I did take like a mock exam like before I joined the collective, like some random one that don't take just random ones free on Facebook because I failed it. I remember I got like, I don't know, it was an F. And I remember that was horrible feeling. So I was just like, I felt like I was so lost. I was like, there's no way I can do this. And this is also before Study Notes had mocks. But so don't get free ones from Facebook ever. But so
Yeah,
I went,
ever.
yeah. So
This is not just about, this is a side note. It's just because if anyone's watching this. Not saying you have to get ours, but like make sure you get from a verified course. Like if you're learning shit incorrectly on mocks, like free is not free when you have to retake the test because you learned information wrong. Okay?
Yeah. That's just, yeah. So yeah, it's like when you log on, so of course, I got like the notebooks and you have your pens and stuff, but it is just, again, like the task list is in their hands or was off my hands, which was great. Like obviously I had it and I could follow along. I knew what we're going to do the next week, but like you just go in and now there's 3 of them. So Leon, Casey, and Danielle just like lead you through. So that week it's like, we're reviewing this. And I think too, it taps in, I'm a creative person. So like, and you're drawing notes and it's just a like relaxed but focused environment that you're still like, you're learning, but it's not like this intimidating. I don't know. It really was just like a community. You show up and we're all drawing these notes together. And then I just have to praise Liat again. I mean, she's just so open and honest. So it makes the whole feeling open and honest.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you show up, you go over the notes, and like, in the chat, I remember people talking or giving examples. And then you would always give like some pop questions too. I remember you started.
Wait, did we even have like questions like show up like typed up on the screen at the end then?
It was, you would send one in the chat.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I don't know how you do it now, but there was always like questions at the end.
One person and send it to the group and then be like, okay, hold on, guys.
Yeah. We just sent it to you and then like we waited a minute or so and then you like let us know. So I don't know how you do it now, but
wait, first of all, you need to come to like the first day of class this coming week so you could see what I mean.
I want to see what it is now.
Oh my God, totally. And how, wait, just remind me, how did I have you guys like write, like I would show you like the diagram to draw out, but like I couldn't like choose cool colors and stuff.
No, it was literally like you said, like the basic expo markers. Like you had blue, black. Sometimes you do like, you do 2 different colors if you're doing like columns for certain notes that you do.
I still did like T-charts, but I always loved T-charts.
Yeah.
I think.
No, it was there was like no frills, but we also still had some frills. Like when, I don't know, you gave us suggestions and it was just fun because we were, I don't know. Yeah, it was like an art class slash learning. Again, like you were like relaxed but focused. I don't know, which was way different than I've ever experienced because I had no idea what to expect. I was like, I don't know what this is gonna be. Hopefully, I like it. But yeah, it was like way better than I expected. And just again, the community part, like you're just in this Zoom room. Well, and it's weird too because like back then, Zoom wasn't. I don't think I ever logged onto Zoom.
No, Zoom was like,
Not a
because
thing.
like, study notes. I mean, if anyone doesn't know this, like, well, first of all, it started by accident, just because I was studying and like, my whole story behind it. But it was like the idea of like, okay, I need to do some. First of all, I love teaching, and I couldn't teach in a
Mm-hmm.
classroom because I was getting sick from all the kids. You know what it's like. And
Mm-hmm.
then it was like it was like, okay, I'm building this like thing that I love to do around like all parts of me. First of all, like with my health, I can't show up somewhere every day. Like I don't know how I'm gonna be my health. And so it was like, okay, Zoom, perfect. I'm seeing all these people. And I remember we were like looking at different like at the time, like, okay, what's the best video platform to do it on? But then when COVID happened, it was like I remember being like, oh my God, we were born for this.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone cares about their health now.
No, it was like perfect. Or like you already did it like pre-COVID too. Like tested out like Zoom and like bringing people together on it, and then it like exploded too. You're like one of the first groups, I feel like.
Thanks, Lupus. Lupus led the way.
Uh, so yeah, you just show like again, it's you're learning, you're focused, you're having fun, the community, and then there's like the questions. It's just very engaging too. Like I never lost interest. I don't remember ever being like, oh, when is this over? Like when you're in
I
class
think
sometimes.
that's one of the. So I think the reason why I felt so passionate about even doing study notes is because I was like, dude, my attention span is literally, I mean, this is before TikTok was around and videos were 7 seconds. It's like, if you do not catch me in the first two, like, I'm out. Like, my attention span is terrible. So I was like, what can we do? I mean, first of all, we have an awesome science to be doing it with. Because, like, right, you could be teaching this content, and when you're providing examples that are things that you relate to and you're providing those multiple examples, I think that's one of the powerful things about it is because when you're hearing something as a concept or you're reading out of Cooper, that book is dry. I mean, you are literally just reading, and now that we have the new third edition book, it's just like 1.5 times itself, the thickness.
Mm-hmm.
And so that that aspect of it was like, if we could just bring this to life and create that environment. And how I learned would be like applying it to real life. And so that's what I always say. I'm always like, if you could talk it, you could test it. Because a lot of stuff in your head, you think you know it. And you might like kind of like if you saw a SAF med or something, like, oh, that's reinforcement, increase feature frequency. But it's like, do you actually get it until you could talk it and provide multiple examples? And that's been, I don't even think that I realized the extent to which I was doing that when I started studying notes. It was just like, I love teaching, and anyone who would listen, I would teach. But now, like, the more I know about ABA and like, essentially we all are teachers. We're teaching. But now that I understand, like, oh wait, there's concepts for what we're doing. Like what we're doing is so behaviorally based in terms of like the multiple exemplars. Like if we're talking about generalization, like if I'm teaching you about one thing with response generalization, I want to know that you can know it more than just identifying, or different ways to say hi. I want to know that you could do response generalization with, the way you eat your cereal, the way you, catch a fish, whatever it is. And that's, the multiple examples. Then you're also doing like the entire note-taking part of it, which I think is huge because slides kill me. Like honestly, watching slides, I'm lost. And if it looks like, the thing is, me personally, if I am looking at something, I'm not taking it in. because I'm just sitting there but the fact that you have to actively be keeping up, taking the notes with us, I think is,
Oh yeah.
helps with, like, it's a DRI. You can't do anything else while you're taking the notes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have, you can't be texting on your phone and taking the notes.
Mm-hmm. No, you're totally like engaged the whole time. And again, because you're using, and then just the examples you all use. Like you said, like Cooper is obviously the great study tool, but like itself, you bring it to life. You're like, oh, okay. Like I left him, I was like, oh, I get it. Like it wasn't like I was just felt like I was catching on to things.
So that's it. So that's what we always say, like, okay, do your reading before class. But sometimes I think, like, I always say, like, okay, well, first of all, I don't think the Cooper book should be read in order. That's also number one. So people like will be like, okay, I'm gonna go from cover to cover. When really I feel like we have really like figured out the perfect formula of like what you should learn before you learn the next part. And the book is just written like by sections, but it doesn't necessarily build on each other, right? Like you're going to want to understand like the basics of like what reinforcement are before you're doing schedules of reinforcement, before you're doing compound schedules of reinforcement, before you're choosing your interventions for in your assessment. So just kind of learning in order, it makes you feel that each time you're learning, the pieces are connecting, like why you're learning what you're learning. So I think that's something really cool about the collective too, is that idea is that everything, it's like it's not like you're learning something new each time, because it's just a further explanation of what you already learned. So give you time to learn that. Go read it after class, because your book, I think, is a lot less scary once you've had it explained to you in like a language that you understand. And then taking it from there and going to, read your book. And I think it provides that opportunity, which is really cool.
Yeah, and like again, like and that's like I would never have known how to do that. And that's where like your expertise comes in. Like I wouldn't know how to like chop that up. So that's why like it was just so helpful.
My expertise, I was like the shittiest studier always. And that's where it came from. I was like, if I could pass this test, I have to be able to get anyone else to, because like academics were not my thing. Like you said, you were pretty good at taking tests.
Yeah. Yeah, like academics always came easy, so that's why I think I was like being like, I don't need somebody. Like I thought I was too cool.
The thing is, the test is also, it's about taking the test. So like there's a mix of this actual skill of like, okay, how are they trying to fuck me over with these questions? Like answering the actual questions, knowing the content, being able to generalize it to, because I think also a lot of people are like understandably comparing it to their clinical practice. And what you're doing in your clinic does not necessarily match the way that you need to answer for the test. Like, because the way you answer for the test is the way that it's written in the literature. And to be honest, sometimes either what you're doing at your clinic may be a more effective way, or you may not be learning best practice, So just really being able to take yourself out of like, okay, this is my experience and this is how I need to answer for the test. So I think that, it's a good mix of being able to like teach, but also provide like, okay, but when you're taking the test and something like this comes up, your brain needs to be thinking like this and then this,
Oh yeah, and I had no idea about that until like, you kept stressing that. Like, okay. Or you framed it in the way of like, this is what the test is going to be looking for. Answering certain ways. Where sometimes we could be answering, like clinical setting, or like, oh, this makes sense. But yeah. You prepare for those type of like tricky questions where we're supposed to just like look at, like you said, like the words. Like what words are being used, and like thinking that literature way.
Yeah, exactly. So am I missing anything, Kara? Thank you for offering to come on here. It was like so amazing. But when you were talking to Casey and I the other day, well, we got back in touch because Kara was like, look, I'm really into TikTok these days. Like, let me help you guys with your TikTok. You guys are kind of like failing on the TikTok regard. I was like, okay, hold up. I could only be one social media queen, and that's Instagram, which I'm not good at the rails either. They're like, but
you're getting there.
No, you're helping us. Well, no, I'll send Kara or Katie the video like of something, and then they'll chop it up, which is great.
Yeah.
you guys will be speaking
Um,
some more concepts.
I don't think so. It's just truly like, because, you know, you can look at it, or it's hard to really know what it is like in the whole, like in a whole, because you just see like, okay, it's a study thing, it's studied. But I mean, you won't be able to experience kind of a little bit what I'm talking about unless you join, because it is like that jingle I wrote a couple weeks ago. Like, it is a feeling, as cheesy as it sounds, it is a feeling, it is a bond. Like, when you're in it, you just are like submerged in this community where you're like, okay, it's making sense. And then, um, yeah, like, I don't know, it was like the best thing. And side note, outside of like BCBA life, like, it just proved to me, because I wouldn't really invest, you know, like, I do little things to invest in myself, but it also just proved to me like I can show up to my for myself and do something and complete it till the end. So it was almost like a little like just side benefit. Like, it showed me I invested in myself, I showed up, and yeah, and it was so easy to show up. It wasn't even like a thing. Like, I remember I was just like looking forward to the collectives. Like, it was like my escape almost, because I didn't have like, I don't know, people.
Well,
As I was listening.
I really want it to be. I want it to be like. I mean, also like people are like. I mean, we know that like this field has burnout, like without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like to pick yourself up to study at the end of a day. Like who wants to
Yeah.
who wants to do that? So it has to be like it has to be great for you to want to sit
Mm-hmm.
and study at the end of a day. You know, I
Oh
mean, there's
yeah.
also like video options, but like if some people like really like that accountability aspect of like
Mm-hmm.
live and then being able to ask the questions to us,
Yeah.
that will stay with you as long as you need to ask questions. But our goal with the collective is listen, we'll be your personal trainer the entire way. You don't need to worry. You're going to get through every single item on the task list. We're going to cover every concept you need to cover. So, like, come in, just show up, bring your book,
Mm-hmm.
bring paper, bring pretty notes, spend a little more money on your notebook than you typically would spend.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if you remember, I'd always say that. I'm like,
I did too.
if you're usually like the 10-cent notebook, like when Staples does it at the beginning of the year, like go ahead, spend $5 on a notebook from like TJ
Mm-hmm.
Maxx or wherever it is. And because this is something that I want you to be proud of. Like you are essentially creating an art project at the same time, which is also helping you remember things just with like the different salient cues and the fonts and the, all the different fun things about it. But I want you to not have to realize that you're studying. Like you
Yeah.
show up, we will make sure you cover every item on that task list
Mm-hmm.
and explain to you whatever you need. But at least you could have that relief of I've signed up. I know that these people are going to make sure I don't miss anything. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just happy to hear that you had that amazing of experience because I think like how we've like improved the process and
Mm-hmm.
like what I even when I think about like what I thought I knew then
Yeah.
in terms of like how much I've learned since then, just like based on like, you're teaching, people are asking questions and there were so many concepts that I'm like, did I even know what I was, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, obviously I knew enough to get people to pass.
Yeah.
But now like the amount that we've learned and like the amount of experience, like kind of even being able to like anticipate what question someone's going to have,
Mm-hmm.
like just on the amount of questions that we've answered or,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a confusion point, people. This is what I'm gonna tell you. Like, get the fuck off your cell phone. If you're on your cell phone now, like, stop staring at your crotch on your phone. Like, I need you to pay attention. Like
Mm-hmm.
those little things, I do think that we've really like fine tuned it to what you need to um, be able to succeed and know that you have it taken care of. And
Mm-hmm.
we always are striving to do anything that like utilize the feedback that you guys provide us to make the collective and the different things that we offer better and better. And I can tell you, we literally put our heart and soul into every product we have created at Study Notes. Um, it's,
No.
I also say like Study Notes, like more than just like, obviously like like it's a business, like that's, like how we support ourselves. But at the same time, like I truly believe and like I could speak for Casey too, but like it has given me like as someone and you know what it's like with like health issues,
Mm-hmm.
like I truly believe it has like healed me in so many ways. Like it like lights me up to feel such purpose. Like I used to be someone when I was working clinically, I was like so obsessed with needing to be healthy and show up because I'd always be worried that I'm going to get a flare up and be sick. And I'd be like, okay, I need 14 hours sleep. I'm not getting 14 hours sleep. I'm not going to do that. Blah, 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 blah. I'm so nervous. Blah, 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 you know? And it's like now the amount I work is probably like, I don't know. Now probably like 14 hours a day. But like at points it was literally 20 hours a day and I'd get like 4 hours of sleep. But now like I have a kid, you know,
Yeah.
that takes some time. But it's like been really healing for me too to be able to like really utilize the things that I still have because my health has affected a lot of things that I can no longer do, but like really hone in on like what I still can do. And so it's just, I think like I'm so thankful for anyone who signs up for the classes, and I still feel that like fire under my ass to be like, we are getting you to pass. And just I think the one other thing I'd like to add, which I do think is special about the collective, is, you know, as it's grown, I think people like, I don't know what people are thinking, but it might be like, okay, this is just like a business, like another business. But like, I want you to know, like, it's so personal. Like, when you get in there, like, we want to know, like, what's driving you to be there? Like, why are you there? Like, here's my story and like how I like built myself up from being like down to nothing. And, you know, Casey has a story, Danielle has a story, everyone has a story. Like, it's, you know, we're sharing, but then we hear all yours. And it's like, holy shit. Aside from like just studying for a test, like you're not alone in anything. Like this is a community that you'll have for life. And so I think that's an important spot to hit on.
Oh yeah, like I feel like I'm even like since I stopped the collective, like I've just always felt connected and like to study notes because like it just changed my whole study game and my life just to show me like I could show up. And I have to say like too like the live is best if you're a procrastinator or if you need something to like keep you going. Um, and I took those notebooks because I remember you told me to or told us to buy like expensive notebooks. I remember I paid $15 per notebook, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've never paid
$50 per notebook. What notebook did you get?
It's like on Amazon. I think
You really
I
took
don't
me
know.
early.
Yeah, I
What
was
is
like,
it?
oh my gosh, but I love them. So I remember I bought 3 of them, and I
What
think I
are
only
they?
needed to use 3.
Moleskin on like crack?
No, I don't know. No, they were just, but they were like perfect. And I carried those everywhere when I was studying. Like, and I would like you, because you always say, teach it. Like, if you can teach it, you know it.
I mean, you're also
I,
like so proud of those notes, right?
oh my gosh, yeah. Like, I still have them
Like you will
because
never
I'm
throw
like,
them away. I know that's how I feel
yeah.
about
And it's not like you just do notes and then you just like, okay, I drew a pretty note and then don't look at it. Like, I don't know, something about those notes too, because you're proud of
it.
it.
Them, you're so proud.
And you're like learn and you're like I get it and you just look at that like oh yeah and you like say different things or acronyms that you put in and just like it sticks with you. But oh my gosh, those notebooks came with me the whole time we were traveling or anywhere in the car. Like I was always re-looking at them. And again, this is before like I only used the collective and then I had to buy mock exams because you guys didn't have them
No, you gotta
back
take.
then. But I mean, I only used the collective to study. That was the only study materials I
But thank you
used.
for believing in us when we still had
Yeah,
a
I
glimpse
know.
of.
The glary whiteboard got me through it. So, um, but yeah, it is just like the best. Again, like 'cause, like you said, you take so much off when you're studying. You could be like you could have kids, going through health issues. There's so much that, or just getting off of school. You're working full time. Like there's so many variables. So when you can release something and get it off your plate, which is basically the task list, and you guys order, you put it in order for us or however we do it. Like it is such a big relief. I think
Like
that was the
crossing it
biggest thing.
tonight.
Yeah,
Did we do
it's just
that?
like
Did we tell you like, okay, cross this up or not yet?
you did.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
I like to know like at which level, like which things came along the way. Cause it's like,
Oh yeah.
I don't, hi Danielle.
Oh yeah, there's.
Danielle's there.
Oh yeah.
But I also want to say that anyone, so Kara now has started us, like helping us with our TikToks and our Reels, which are amazing. And there's something else that she's working on, and it has to, by the way, Kara's a singer, if you missed that memo and you got on a little late. So there's a creative idea that I threw out to Kara a while ago. I'm not going to say what it is exactly, but I probably should say it just to hold you accountable, to make you have to do it. Ready for me to say it out loud?
Well, I'm curious if people.
Okay, let's make a poll.
It speaks to me, but does it speak to other people?
Okay, and I got to tell you that it speaks to me too. Okay, so what do you guys think of this? I told Kara a long time ago, I was like, dude, your songs are amazing and your jingles, and they're so catchy. I want you to make an album that are on different concepts. And like a song, let's say like you had a song about, I know I always talk about generalization, and it like had, like, think about it. Like when we know every word to like Stan by Eminem, right? We know every, like, you know, these songs that are stories, or like every Taylor Swift song. What if you were singing it and realizing, if anyone's an audio learner, is that something that would interest people? I say yes, I think it's amazing, but let's hear. Okay, we got a clap.
Yeah, like would you like an album so when you're driving
on iTunes?
Yeah, that you can like re-listen to the concepts, but like it's catchy too. So you could be technically, I was saying like the acronyms in the test from the collective. I was like, okay, Leah was like, you know, I was going through them. So would songs also be helpful?
Yes, like one time my fellow singer here, yes. And she plays guitar, guys. She's literally Taylor Swift of ABA. See, absolutely. Okay.
Okay.
I see some repeatability here. I think that you got to take this data.
Okay.
Like, I'm sorry, like you would totally, like, I have never forgot one song I made up in one Instagram live accidentally. I think Casey and I were like traveling back from Houston. And it was like, remember City High song? Like, what would you do? Like, what would you do if your son was at?
Oh, yeah.
Alone on the bed. And I changed the entire lyrics. I had like a good creative day. But like my voice, like I was told not to sing in choir because like I had voice nodules. So, but you don't want me singing it. But it was like I had changed the entire song to be about MOs, right? Because it was like, what would you do if your son was at home crying all alone on the bedroom floor? And it's like, okay, MOs, like this girl's got to do something about it. But like told a story, you know? And I think like, so if people, I'm so happy that we actually like took an actual poll as to if that's something that would interest people. I'm thinking like 20 songs on concepts that like everyone hates. Yeah. But you have it in song form. So let's see if anyone else just got on here. We're going to ask it one more time just to give Kara that last fire under her ass she needs. Okay. If there was something you could download on, you know, Spotify or iTunes, I don't know, wherever, is that something that would interest you to have songs about the ABA concepts that are very catchy? Like think Coco Melon for ABA. No, I'm just kidding. No, like songs that are a story, but that you'd remember. If you just got on, please give us your poll. And you know what we could also do? We could actually put a poll on the actual Instagram after. Yes. I've seen no no's. Is anyone saying no?
I don't think I've seen it, but some people haven't responded probably, so maybe there's.
So I just want to make sure, like, is that something that you would listen to and be like, okay, I remember this story now?
Yeah. You have to also like, yeah, and that's something that you may know.
I'm actually not really an audio learner, but like, I like a song that like that has a story in it. Like again, like Eminem Stan is like the perfect example. Like the whole telling a story, the entire time. Or like even like what I think. Oh, Coco Melon. No, it wouldn't be Coco. That literally makes me want to like shoot myself. The number of yeses you received. Okay, well, we've only got yeses, so I'm gonna say, unless anyone's being nice. No, but
I feel like, I mean, I just know when I'm studying, if I could have like relatable, like, you know, basically taking the collective ish and putting it in songs so you can have another form to listen to. Like, I would totally listen to it on my drive.
Me too.
Um,
No, and you know what? Actually, when I was studying for the SAT, poor girl, I didn't do great on the SAT at all. Um, but actually, I still to this day, I have this CD in my car, and it was called like Rock the SAT, and it
oh,
was like
really?
it's an enigma, it's a puzzle, it's a,
Oh
it's
my
a
goodness.
like, and I was like, I still because you know you have to like learn all those vocab words,
Mm-hmm.
which like I still don't know how they chose those, whatever. Um,
I didn't
but
know they had that.
there was like I'm telling you, learning was not easy for me ever. So like if there was something that and I really do think that songs that are a story and catchy, we have you have to do it.
Okay.
Like you have a skill, that's what you need to utilize. And for anyone
Mm-hmm.
who is audio, and don't worry, they're not gonna be Coco Melon, okay? They're gonna be like
Yeah.
a beat you need.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay. Well, I'm glad we polled. Now we know. Next project.
next project. All right, and you know what? You guys could send concepts that you would like songs on.
Yeah, we can put that on like the Instagram.
Let's
Maybe
make a
post.
poll.
Yeah.
Let's
And
make a
like what?
poll first that says like, would you? So something that would
Mhm.
interest you, which I already think we got a yes. So there's like no option there. Second of all, what songs would you want concepts on? I think
Yeah.
we got to like main. I think also. Sorry guys, now you're basically in a meeting.
Yeah.
Like I think ones that are like the foundational concepts also that like if you
Hmm.
understand it well through a song, you could learn other things
Yeah.
like MOs, SD
Hmm.
versus MOs,
Yeah.
generalization. Um, you know, antecedents,
Hmm.
consequences, punishment.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Like the
thinking.
solid core ones, and then the ones that people struggle with, or always ask questions.
Totally. Okay, this is great. Guys, thanks for coming and watching this.
Oh, CMO, verbal behavior. Well, Leah told me that she taught me CMOT wrong. I've learned the other day.
I did. Guys,
I
I'm
didn't know that, so I've
but she
been
still
only.
passed, okay? But anyways, CMOT, I'm gonna tell you guys really quick before I go, okay? So I used to think the actual CMOT, which like in hindsight it makes sense, like how is that the actual like MO because the MO happens before. But I used to think that the CMOT was like, okay, so like, oh, here's a situation, you have a locked door. So now the CMOT is the key to open the locked door.
Mhm.
But that's not right, okay? Because the CMOT is actually the situation that makes that other item valuable. So, like the locked door is the CMOT, conditionally motivated operation transitive, which makes now the key valuable. Or like the unlit candle, right? That's the CMOT, which suddenly makes the lighter, which is not the CMOT. It's actually called the conditioned reinforcer, valuable in that moment. Okay, so I used to teach that wrong for I don't know how many collectives. Um, but don't,
Don't worry, that's the only thing she taught wrong, and now she corrected
well,
it.
I hope. I don't know. I
I
mean,
hope.
but anything, don't worry. We've been corrected enough. So
Yeah.
we're teaching things right. But that was, I remember being like, oh, wow. Um, but we're teaching things right now. Don't worry. And if you have Danielle in here, don't worry. That bitch is always sitting with her Cooper book, um, catching anything. So, and we have a lot of cool things coming out. So just be aware. Stick your eyes out on, on the website, Study Notes, and Behavior Bitches is back. The app is happening. So whatever level you want to partake in. Also, just to let you guys know, we do have payment plans. I don't think we ever like market
Mm.
that enough to let you know, but um, there's payment plans to take the classes, and if we also have options now that are, we have 1 month option that are, um, it starts at $150, and so that you could still have access to the entire collective. So just look at what fits for you, what you're interested in. If you want to see if you like our style or not, check out our YouTubes. We got lots of content on YouTube. And that's really it.
Yeah. Join the collective.
All right. Go
Yeah.
join the collective. And Kara, go make music.
Okay. Will do.
All right.
All right.
That's all we have for you today. As always. I'm just kidding. Love you.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.